Hi, I'm Hope Witkowsky, your host of Senior Scene. Today, we're going to visit two veterans who've sacrificed so much but asked for so little. We're going to look at resources right here in Torrance for our senior veterans to help them live a more fulfilling lifestyle. Mary Louise came from a military family whose father was in the Air Force as her role model. It didn't take her long to make her decisions on what she would do when she finished school.
I graduated from college, and I just decided I wanted to be able to see the world, basically. I've always been a person where, I was sort of born under the wandering star, and I always wanted to, what was behind that other, corner, what was behind, the cove, what was behind this. And I think being in the Air Force, other than the other services, was the one opportunity for me to be able to see the world. And being a musician as well, I'd be able to perform, in any place that I would, want to meet a lot of interesting people.
Her gift to the men and women who serve our country in foreign countries was to use her skills as a musician by joining the Air Force Band.
Most services have bands, and they have a concert band, they have a rock band, and they have a jazz band. And you're under what's called MWR, at least in the Air Force, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. And it's for your purpose there is to make sure that all active duty personnel and their families, have some kind of an out, especially being overseas, because you're away from your family. You need something to remind you of home, and it's a good way of meeting people, and it's a good way of bringing home to the service members who are overseas.
She told us that she received so many gifts from her military service while she was serving overseas during her 25 years of active duty.
I transferred out of the band career field into admin because with my bachelor's degree, all I had was a fine arts experience. And so I transferred while I was in the military into administrative support. I was administrative specialist for drug and alcohol abuse control in the PME school. And when I came home, I was still active duty. When we had the reduction in forces, that's when I transferred out of active duty and went into reserve, and I started getting jobs as secretary, any job that I can pretty much think of, simply because I had two children to support.
It was only when she returned home that things were starting to change.
So I lost my job. I was, unfortunately, the apartment complex that I lived in, I'd lived in there for 14 years. And it went under the management of the son, and basically even we ended up paying for rent, but he took our money and then just told us to leave. So we ended up having to move all of I had no money, no job, and I had about maybe $200. So we moved everything that we could into storage, and we practically left everything there. So we had to start from scratch. And we went from friend's house to relative's house to my daughter's friend's home is where we ended up in. It was terrible, The worst thing about being homeless is the fact that most people don't understand that you're not going to be in a person's home for only 1 week or 2 weeks. You may be there for anywhere from 3 months to a year, and that's something that they don't really understand. And that's why we had to move from one place to another. Fortunately, the person that we ended up living with, she needed a roommate. So it was as if we ended up moving into her apartment, and we were her roommates, and we were there for a good 7 months.
How could it happen that this well-educated woman would end up homeless?
We were in our car, and we were driving to a friend's house. If that friend, and we ended up leaving the person's house, we were there for about 2 weeks. If that person's did not allow us to stay, we'd have been in the car.
Matthew Davison, also a veteran, has been helping homeless, unemployed veterans for 14 years. He talks about the serious problem and how his work is the most rewarding he has ever done.
I would like to tell you one brief story of a veteran I encountered who was on the street. He was homeless. He was addicted to crack cocaine. He was alienated from his family, and I took him over to the VA, and we got him well, and then we got him into a drug program, and then I helped him to find a job, create a resume, and prepare for employment, and got him reunited with his family. My passion is veterans and helping them get back on their feet. This particular veteran I was talking about called me a couple of years ago and invited me to his college graduation. So to me, that's a success story. It can happen.
He hopes those watching this program will pass on this information to veterans in need.
Most of them live on Skid Row, so there are many services down in Skid Row that, for example, Volunteers of America has services down there, Weingart Center has services down there, and they could go to these places and get food to eat, and if they need some clothing items, they can get that. If we would all just adopt a veteran who is in need and help that veteran one-on-one, it's not a lot to ask. We all say thank you for your service, but we can show that by helping that veteran get back on their feet.
Our country is seeing more and more homeless veterans who can't find work. Thanks to a partnership between the Torrance Area Chamber of Commerce and the Employment Development Department, help is on the way. Brandon, a young veteran who served active duty in Iraq for 4 years, was hired by the Chamber to run the new IVET program.
Well, our program is really malleable to fit the veteran, and that's a key component of why we started this program, is to help the employers better understand the very diverse veteran population that exists. Some veterans are like me, did 4 years, transitioned out, had a call to duty, and eventually want to go back to the civilian workforce from the start. Some are more lifelong career veterans, which is perhaps some of the senior vets that you're talking about. They did a full career, and now they're into their secondary career. What our program does is educate the employer to what the different kinds of veterans are, because certain job listings may tailor better towards someone that had a career in the military or is a more senior age, whereas other positions may be tailored to a person such as me, who's a younger junior military officer coming in to a new organization. So that's really what our program can do, is educate to the differences of veterans out there, as well as through our partnerships with our veteran service organizations locally to really help a senior vet translate his skills that he's had over a longer period of time and really help that transition. And that's really why we built those partnerships. We're not equipped to do that as a Chamber of Commerce, but what we are equipped to do is be a catalyst for collaboration between the public and private sector. And that's what our program is, and that's how I think we can help veterans of many different service backgrounds.
This new program is new to our community and actually one of the most comprehensive types of programs to be there to help our veterans in need.
We recently started working with the Torrance Chambers of Commerce, and the IVET program is to bring veterans back to work. And we are partnering and we are collaborating in conducting job preparations academies. We are also looking at working with the employers and educating them on the value of hiring veterans.
Through our partnership with the EDD, they are tracking all the results as far as veterans obtaining employment. And we are going to be able to access that data and publicize that data. And what our ultimate goal is to help our employers find great employees and promote that as an amenity to joining the Torrance Chamber, but also really being able to connect and promote chambers really taking this active role in the community to connect the public and private sector and be a catalyst for collaboration. I think this program will show how a Chamber of Commerce can take on this responsibility as far as helping veteran employment, but really the workforce issues in general, and to really partner private and public funding, resources, as mentioned before. And that's the result that I think we'll be able to publicize through this and hopefully be able to continue to sustain some sort of program that helps connect the workforce with our employers.
Ray Frew, a Vietnam vet himself, was president of the Torrance Area Chamber of Commerce. He worked hard to get this program started and hired young Brandon to head it up.
It's a super thing to me to say, because one of the things that I've been told over all these years is that there are probably 40,000+ organizations or small groups across the country out there trying to help veterans. And the thing is that everybody does a little piece, some of it's duplicated, none of it's cohesive, and none of it, unfortunately, or not, I should say, small parts of it are long-lasting. Too many things are hit, miss, or done with. So when I first met Brandon and found out, okay, I've got a fellow vet, but one with a lot more energy than I have as I'm getting along in my own career, it was great to be able to take things that I knew and, more importantly, people that I knew, and open doors for the Torrance Area Chamber.
With all the plans, there are still some big challenges to finding these veterans and getting the word out that there is an IVET program right here in Torrance to help them.
Our marketing concept has been developed through our communications coordinator, Brandon Smith, and he's done a great job. He's developed our flyer that will be e-blasted out, so in email sent out to our entire distribution of membership, as well as people that like getting these emails. So we will reach about 2,500 people in the community, and close to 800 of our business members will see this flyer that advertises the veteran side as well as the employer side in the free employer workshop that we're going to offer with this program, and also a way to contact myself to obtain job listings, and then I will relay that to the EDD.
Once the veteran enters the program with the Chamber of Commerce, then the Employment Development Department goes to work, showing that veteran reasons that they have not been hired.
Well, what we've been doing is utilizing social media. It is a necessity nowadays, and it's innovative, and so we're trying to use those tools and teaching our veterans to use the tools. Target their resumes, make them specific to the job that they are planning on applying for. Sometimes our senior veterans are used to giving us the life story when it comes to setting up a resume. Nowadays, the resumes need to be targeted specifically for the job listing that they're applying for, and that's some of the tools that we're using to help them out.
It is the Torrance Area Chamber of Commerce who will be partnering with the Torrance businesses to communicate the value of hiring our senior veterans.
Veterans have a myriad of different skills that they've had a chance to develop through training, but also through practical application, which is a really key component that a lot of the workforce coming straight out of college or out of a career tech ed type program, they have the technical knowledge, but not necessarily the practical experience, whereas veterans have both. And that's really a dynamic aspect of hiring a veteran, is that you're not just getting someone that's qualified for this position, but they've actually had experience, and maybe not directly for a specific job listing, but the translation of skills, for example, leadership, being a self-starter, taking initiative, problem solving. Those are all skills that veterans use on a daily basis while they were in the military, and that's what they were expected to do. And there's not a whole lot of asking for help or trying to ask a boss to figure this out. They'll figure it out and bring recommendations to the table. So those are really the skills that are transferable between the military and the civilian workplace that a lot of veterans have. It's really that knowledge of leadership, the training of leadership, as well as the practical application in environments that you would not have that opportunity to serve in that capacity in the civilian workforce for many years, yet they've had that empowerment early on at a young age and built those dynamic leadership skills and team management skills that a lot of the civilian workforce are looking for.
If you see a veteran who is out of work, be sure to tell him about this new IVET program being run by the Torrance Area Chamber of Commerce. They can call 310-540-5858 and ask for Brandon Matson. So whether you're a veteran or you know a veteran, it's important to know that there's programs out there like IVETs that help veterans go from military to being a civilian. I'm Hope Witkowsky reminding you, knowledge, it's a powerful tool. Tune in next time for more secrets on successful aging.